Hey guys, welcome back to another video of in the Let's Talk Solve Tactics series. So last time we could not reach 1700. We have a rating of 1651. So let's see how far we can take it today. So we are starting off with this position where it's black to move. Go ahead if you would like to pause your video. Okay, so first thing I would like to look at the material. I see that I have a queen and white does not, but also white is very well developed. All the minor pieces are in the game, whereas mine are not. But anyway, so white has two minor pieces, meaning a bishop and a knight for the queen, looks like. Yeah, okay. That does mean that we are doing pretty well in terms of material. White, however, does have a lineup of his bishop against our queen, so right here. And he might be threatening some discoveries like knight to c6 or knight to g6 check. Um, okay, and I am attacking uh, the bishop on b7 with my rook. So one option could really be to just give up my queen for three pieces here, and that may be the answer, but I don't know. So what I'm considering is rook takes b7, uh, knight to g6 check, f takes g6, bishop takes g6, d6 check, and I take. And I have given up my queen for three minor pieces, and we are left with a position where I have an extra bishop. That should be pretty good actually, but let's see if there is something better. Of course, there is also this lineup of uh, white's pieces on the fifth rank or fourth rank rather. So queen b4 is a candidate, just trying to fork the pieces. But then I fall into queen b4 falls into knight c6 check and winning my queen for free. So that's not good. Okay, so one trap avoided. Okay. Let's see. So attempts to save my queen. Where can I go? b6 is covered, c5 is covered, b4 doesn't work, d7 is covered, d8 will not work because of knight c6 check, and I'll be uh, yeah, losing my queen for not three pieces, so less than three pieces. So yeah, I do think that taking three pieces for the queen may be a good idea. Other than that, other than moving the queen, moving the king could be an option, maybe. So let's say something like king f6, going out into the fire, into the open. King f6. Again, he has discoveries. So king f6 leads to knight g4 check, and my queen is lost. So and king e8. King e8 could be interesting. Let's see. But it is purely defensive. He just moves his bishop, I guess. Oh, yeah, bishop c6 check. And then again, forcing me to a dark square. So king has to go to d8, or I have to sacrifice my queen, or e7. If I go to e7, he again has knight g6 check. And if I go to d8, he has knight takes f7 check. So yeah, none of those moves are good. I do feel I should just trade three pieces for the queen. So I'm going to do that. I'm not sure. Okay. So good practical problem there. Many times, you find yourself in a position where there is no way to save, or to uh, prevent a tactic. So you have to make the best of it. So we could not save our queen there, but we got three pieces for it. And we have ended up with an extra bishop. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, black to play. Go ahead if you would like to pause. So few things I noticed right away. One is white is threatening mate by queen g7. So we are facing an imminent threat of checkmate. Also, I can promote to a queen or whatever right away with check. So d1 queen check is available. Other than that, my rook is placed very actively. There is pressure around his king. The queen could deliver some checks with from b5, let's say. So okay. So given that there is mate threatened, and I don't see a direct way to prevent mate, meaning there is no way for me to control the g7 square. At least I don't see it. So that does mean that we have to somehow win on the other side of the board. We have to checkmate him, or somehow deal with this mate threat aggressively. So okay. So rook b1 check is a candidate. d1 queen is a candidate. Queen b5 check could be a candidate. So yeah, checks for sure, just to keep keep white from delivering the checkmate that he so badly wants to. Okay, so let's look at d1 queen, the most obvious move. King to g2 is forced, and what do I have there? So given what I said, I have to keep the tempo going, and I have to deal with I have to deliver some checks. So or do I? Yeah, I'm not able to still control g7 or trade queens. So queen could check again the king, sacrificing itself, the new queen, from f3 or g1 or h1. Let's see if any of them, if we are allowed to trade queens somehow, then we will be in good shape probably, because in the rest of the position, like we are up material, we have two rooks, so we have a white has a knight for our rook, right? Yeah. Okay, and so okay, let's see. D1 queen, king g2, queen f3 check. He really has to take it. So king f3. Now, actually, I also had rook f2. So d1 queen, king g2, rook takes f2 check. It's a check. So what else can I do there? He takes with the knight or bishop. And let's say with the bishop. And then oh, okay. If he takes with the bishop, I have queen g4 check. So I'm looking at d1 queen, king g2 is forced. Now rook takes f2 check, supported by my bishop on a7. Now he can move his king to h3, h1, somewhere on the back rank, or he can take. Now if he goes to h3, then queen g4 would be mate. So that is very nice. The queen on d1 to g4, that is. Okay, and so he cannot move the king to h3, and going back is not allowed thanks to my queen being on d1. So he has to take. Now let's say he takes with the bishop. So bishop takes f2. Then I have queen to g4 check, and going to the back rank cannot be good. I don't think, or can it be? Now if he goes to the back rank, so let's say king to f1, what do I have? I mean, I can throw in queen b5 check. Now he has to go to e1, and queen to e2 is checkmate. So going to the back rank I don't think works, so he has to block that check. So after queen g4 check, he comes back, let's say bishop g3. So in that case, what can I do? Oh, uh, yeah, I can take the knight on e4 with check if he blocks with the bishop. So that is nice. Okay. So far looking promising. Let's see. So d1 queen check, king g2, rook takes f2 check, bishop takes f2, queen g4 check. Now he has options. He can block with the knight too, which probably makes more sense because the knight is hanging with check. So knight g3 there. So knight g3, and if knight g3, hmm, do I have any checks? I have queen d5 check. Hmm. I do feel like I'll have enough counterplay to win there, but I haven't definitely seen all the way through. Okay, I'm going to look at some other moves as well. Let's look at rook b1, see if it's any better. So rook b1 check, king g2, of course. Now what? I can deliver another check on g1, but I don't think that is the way forward. So also let me examine queen b5 very quickly. So queen b5 check, again he goes to g2, and where is my counterplay? Not sure. Trying to defend directly, the king moves are not allowed and rook moves do not help. The queen is not able to help out. I do think I have to promote with check. I'm going to do it, and because the lines do get complicated, and I did feel that I have enough checks after rook takes f2, so I'm going to do it. Okay, so far so good. Okay, now the question is what to do now. We have to make a check, because if we do not give a check, white delivers checkmate. So we had thought of rook takes f2 check. Are there any other checks? I mean, the other checks have to be the new queen to f1 or f3 or g1 or h1 for that matter. Let's quickly look at them. So queen g1, king takes g1, queen e1 check. Actually looks rather interesting. Okay. Um, king g2, queen takes e4 check. Now if he goes to f1, what do I do? Is it just a draw? So queen e2 check, king g2, queen e4 check, king f1, queen b1 check. I'm not able to win somehow. Okay. So rook takes f2, what I had planned. Rook takes f2. If knight takes f2, I have queen d5. If bishop takes f2, I have queen g4. That looks better. And if queen h3, I have queen g4 mate. I'm going to go with that. I have to say this is quite complicated. Okay, so far so good. Okay, now we still have to deliver checks or trade queens. So queen d5 check was the plan. Any other nice checks? The other checks have to be involving sacrifice of the queen. So queen d5 check has to be. It's pretty much forced. Okay, now he goes here. Now, now what do I do? That's a tough question. Let's see. What are my checks again? So I can of course sacrifice my queen on g2, which doesn't look right. I can sacrifice my queen on g4, which could be right. Any other checks? Or is there a way to avoid giving a check? Hmm. Let's see. Queen g2 definitely not correct. So if queen g2 is not correct, there are no other checks with the d5 queen, right? Oh, queen f1 check is available. Right. Queen f1 check, and he is forced to go to h4. And there I have Queen d4 check. Is that right? Or I could throw in g5 check actually. G5 check may not even be bad. So g5 check, he can take with the queen, oh, with check and then deliver mate. So that's not correct. Okay. So queen d4 check, sorry, queen f1 check, king h4, queen d4 check. And what does he have to do? He has to either go king g5 or he has to block the check with his queen, bishop, or knight. Blocking with the knight doesn't look right. I just take it for free. So he has to probably block, let's say, if he blocks with the queen, we are very happy. We trade queens and we remain a queen up. So he blocks with the bishop. So queen d4 check, bishop f4. And at that point, the knight on f2 is hanging, and I can take it with the with either queen, I guess. Yeah, and follow it up. That is actually queen takes f2. Let's say queen on f takes f2 check. As far as I can tell, that is not mate because he goes to g5 at that point, and then I take on f4, and that is mate. So now let's consider queen f1 check, king h4, queen d4 check, king g5. Now on king g5, at a minimum, what do I have? At a minimum, I could trade queens, could I? With queen d2. Actually, I'm going to go down that line because that much looks clear to me. Okay, 12 minutes. Sorry about that, but I'm going to look at the analysis and see if we actually end up in checkmating white somehow. And we actually do not. So let's look at it. Okay, so this is correct. Oh, we do. It says mate in 10. Rook takes f2 is correct. I guess this is the key move to find. And how did the tactic go? Knight takes f2. Okay. Knight takes f2, queen d5 check is correct. So we just have to keep checking and finding the right checks basically. And here it says queen d to c4. Even queen d4 works. Okay. So this is what I was planning. And if he went here, is there a easy mate? So it says everything works basically, but queen g5 check, and yeah, that looks clean. And if he had blocked this check with the bishop, then yeah, this I had calculated. I was gonna go this check, and if here, then mate, and if here, I had not seen any further, but yeah, hopefully I would have found something good there. Yeah, it is mate after. I'm just reading the computer line. Oops, did I make a mistake? Sorry, queen f3. Queen f3 wins faster. And mate. Okay, so long mate. Let's keep going. Otherwise, this will end up being a very long video. So, okay. White to play. Go ahead if you would like to pause your video. So first thing I notice is the queen is a bit short of squares, although not really because it can go down this diagonal. It can go back. So, okay. I noticed the queen, our own queen, along this long diagonal that could offer some tactics. The fact that knight d4 comes with tempo would be interesting. Hits the queen. Also, knight g4 is a rather interesting move. It threatens, actually threatens mate with knight h6 check, king f8, and queen h8. So knight g4 check threatens to win the queen, but also threatens mate. Sorry, knight g4, not check. What does he do there? So if he moves the queen somewhere, let's say queen c8, now I do have the checkmate with knight h6 check, king f8, and queen h8 mate. So if he doesn't move the queen, can he move the king? King to f8 is directly checkmated by uh, queen h8. So then, if we cannot move the king or queen both, then that means I'm at least winning the queen thanks to the fork on h6. So he may avoid mate, but that should be good. So let's quickly look at other options. Pawn to g4, queen c8. Don't see what I do there. Still, I could try knight g4, but if that is the case, I cannot try knight g4 because the g4 point is covered by my pawn. Okay. So knight d4 again, at a minimum, let's say queen c8. Not sure what I'm doing there. Knight g4 looks correct. I'm going to play it. Okay, and he has to give up his queen. Okay, let's keep going. You can tell the tactics are becoming more challenging. And we are only at 1600, so let's see how this goes. Okay, fine. So white to play. Go ahead if you would like to pause your video. So I of course noticed that the king is cut off on the 7th rank by my queen, and I have this pawn which could be pushed. c6 is my main candidate I'm looking at, threatening queen b7 mate. So how does he avoid the mate is the first question I'm going to ask. He of course has his own counterplay on the other side of the board. So black can try queen e2 check, let's say king g3, but then he doesn't have any good checks after that. Yeah, because f2 and e1 are covered. So that's not as worrisome, doesn't prevent mate. Okay, so after c6, queen a7 is not helping because I take the queen. The 7th rank, because I control it so well, rook e7 and rook d7 both after c6 will lose. Simply I take the rook. Moving the king to b8 doesn't help. Queen b7 is mate. And what else can he try? I'm not sure, and I feel that's the answer, so I'm gonna play it. Any other moves I may be missing? I don't think so. My rook is very passive, can't really do much. So this c pawn is the only other attacking unit I can bring in addition to my very active queen. So c6 it is. Okay, he goes down, and now I think we have to go to g3, and he does this. Okay. So now is there no mate? Let's see. I had not anticipated this, so let's be clear. Okay, so queen b7 check, king d8. Now queen b8 check, king e7, and the king is running. So I should go c7 check. So I mean queen b7 check, king d8, c7 check. And once the king goes to the 7th rank, I promote with check, and that has to be very, very good. Okay, so check, check, and I think let's actually hold back. Now, do I under promote for some reason? Promote to a knight and deliver a double check? I don't know. So if I do that, if c8 knight double check, then he can move his king, has to move his king. But I think c8 queen check, he has to go to f8. And there at a minimum, f8 or d6, that is, yeah. If f8, I have queen c5 check, keeping the momentum going, should be good. Keeping the initiative, that is. That actually is, yeah, looking very good. And if after c8 check, if king d6, there should be a mate. So let's see. Maybe. Yeah, maybe queen on 8 to c6. That looks like mate. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to do this. Maybe they will let us checkmate. They did not, but fine. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, white to play. Go ahead if you would like to pause your video. So I noticed that we are facing some dangerous threats. Queen h2 followed by queen f2 is mate. Uh, so black is threatening mate. But we also have some trumps on the other side of the board. Our queen is very close to the king, and there is a bishop that could join the attack. Even the other bishop could be useful someday. So let's look at our candidates. Also, the rook is hanging, by the way, on d2. So if you could win it, we probably squash all of black's attack. So queen h6 check or queen h8 checks are prime candidates. Also, bishop g7 check could be interesting. So let's start with the queen h8 check. Okay, so he has to go to e7. Now what? Hmm. Hmm. What if bishop f6 check? Uh, if bishop f6 check now, that is interesting. If he goes to e6, hmm, queen h8, bishop f, bishop, sorry, queen h8 check, king e7, bishop f6 check, king e6. Let's say queen c8 check, trying to skewer the king and queen. Then rook d7 would be forced. Uh, Not sure what I'm doing there. Maybe I throw in after king e6, queen e8 check. Yep, queen e8 check will force king d6 or d8, or sorry, d6 or d7. No, d6 will actually force the king to go to d6. And then at a minimum, uh, I have queen d8 check, which uh, either I win the rook or he has to block with his queen, which in both cases I'm very happy. So okay, let's look at other moves, see if they are any better. So starting with queen h6 check and forcing the king to, it allows an extra option maybe. Queen h6 check. Okay, king g8 loses to queen h8 mate. So, but it also allows king e8. I don't like that as much. So queen c6 check, king f8. I feel we are going in circles. So probably not good. Bishop g7 check to start with. He goes to e7 or e8. Also, I feel I'm giving him more options, maybe. Queen h8 looks most forcing because he has to go to e7. So, and after that, bishop f6 also looks very forcing. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Let's see. Okay, so far so good. Now, is there any merit to queen e5 check or queen f6 check? Queen e5 check, he can go back to f8 and we are just, oh, we can take on c5. But he goes to g8 and yeah, not sure if we had made that much progress. Queen f6 check, king d7, queen takes f7 check, or he can go to e8 actually, queen f6 check, or simply king f8 actually, yeah. So queen f6 check, king f8, I'm not making progress. So I'm gonna stick with bishop f6 check. Okay, now the moment of truth. So queen d8 check. Now he can go to c6 or e6. Now if c6, what do I have? I can take his rook, yeah. Or e6 also I take his rook. So I take his rook no matter what. I'm gonna check on d8. Okay, that is good. Took a long time. Let's see the pass percentage. Pretty decent, half, 50%. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, white to play. Go ahead if you would like to pause your video. Okay, so yeah, somewhat complex position. So I do notice we have some uh, pieces around black's king. His king looks a little vulnerable right in the middle of the board, uh, or on e7 at least. The knight on c6 is hanging. Bishop takes f7 could be considered someday. Knight d5 check is available. There is a lineup of my queen with his king. So okay, with those observations, let's look at some moves. Okay, is there anything that jumps out at me? Uh, Nothing does. Okay, so where do we begin? Uh, we are not in some imminent danger. Actually, let me look at the material. The material, we are one rook down, isn't it? Yeah. So, okay, we are in some imminent danger. We need to do something now, otherwise we lose the game because he has an extra rook. Okay, so, uh, hmm, is bishop c5 check any good? Just considering a sacrifice. Bishop c5 check, he takes, b takes c5. Now what do I have? I don't really have queen takes e5 because he takes. Queen b4 check doesn't work. He takes again with his knight. I don't think bishop c5 helped us in any way. Okay, so what about knight d5 check? Knight d5 check. Now he has a lot of choices. F8, e8. Stepping on the d file will be bad because we will have discoveries with the knight. So maybe just we have to worry about f7 and sorry f8 and e8. Okay, so knight d5 check, king e8. Let's say. I mean, we can repeat with knight d5 check. So maybe knight d5 check, king f8. Still not sure. I feel I'm missing something here. Not at all sure what's going on. Just notice this very interesting move. Bishop e6 could be considered. So hitting his queen and allowing a rook d7 check to come to land. So bishop e6. Now, where does the queen go? The queen can go to h5. The queen can capture on h4. The queen can capture on g2. Uh, doesn't really matter what it does. Let's say queen takes h4, trying to trade queens. Now, what do I have there? Maybe rook d7 check. Rook d7 check, king f8. Huh. Oh, rook d7 check, king f8. I can take on f7 with check. So I already recovered some material, and at that point he will be forced to go to g8, in which case I can have some discoveries with the rook, uh, which looks pretty nice. Okay, so this bishop e6 idea looks actually rather nice. The fact that rook d7, after rook d7 check, I can win f7 with check. That does make it look pretty promising. So any other, if I go rook d7 right away, he can take with his queen, and yeah, all my fun is spoiled. Okay, I'm gonna go with that because I didn't see any other good options. So let's see. Okay, so we win his queen for two of our pieces in a very wild position. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, black to play. Go ahead if you would like to pause your video. So white is threatening mate with taking on f8, and could be in some other ways too. I'm not sure. It just looks like a very dominating position for white. His pieces are all, right next to my king and deep inside my camp. So what I have going for me is this queen on c4, which can deliver some checks. So I would guess that in this position, of course, I have to point out that taking the rook, which was offered, does not help, or does it? Maybe that's the question. So if I take the rook, now what happens? Queen f7 is not allowed, queen e7 is not allowed, queen takes e5 is not allowed, queen g6 is allowed. So queen g6 check is possible. So whereupon if I go to f8, what happens? He could go maybe queen f6 back, but then how is white making progress? Not sure. Okay, I'm quickly going to look at the other end of the board. Queen f1 check forces king d2. Now, do I have anything great there? Yeah, rook d8 check, bringing another piece into the game. So rook d8 check will force the king to go to either e3 or c3. So let's say king e3. Now king e3, I have, what do I have? Queen f4 check, maybe? Queen f4 check, king e2. Not sure. It does look very promising, to be honest. So queen f1 check. Let's try to calculate. Queen f1 check, king d2. Now, what if I just check with the king queen again? Queen f2 check. Because now king c1, there is queen e1 mate. So he is actually being forced after queen f2 check to come up the board, or at least go to d1. So he goes to d1 after queen f2. Now rook d8 check looks rather interesting, because if he moves the king now to c1, yeah, I'm checkmating him with queen e1. So after so from the starting position, I'm looking at queen f1 check, king d2, which is forced, queen f2 check, and now if king d1, rook d8 check, I think he has to give up his queen for the rook. So he takes, and how do I take there? Of course with my knight. So knight takes d8, and if he takes my rook, I don't think there is any danger. We are good. Okay, let's click out of that. So okay, queen f1 check, king d2, queen f2 check, king d1 and king c1 lose, so he has to go to c3, right? Or d3. Okay, d3 looks worse. Let's quickly eliminate if we can. So king d3, rook d8, check, king c3. Is there a mate or something? Queen e3 would be possible at that point. Queen e3 check, that is. And king c4 would be forced, and I think b5 with the pawn is mate at that point. So okay, so that is also promising. So queen f1, king d2, queen f2 check, that was king d3. Yeah, now let's look at queen c3, king c3 after queen f2. King c3, again I can go queen e3 check, forcing king c4, and b5 check. Is it mate, or did I miscalculate earlier? I think I miscalculated, because he can come to d5, in which case what can I do? Rook d8 check, of course, it's possible, and he can go to e6. I mean, that looks extremely ridiculous that he can go to e6. But I should have a way to win there. I'm not gonna spend too much time there. That does look promising. Now rook takes h8 on the first move, rook taking his rook that was offered. I'm not sure if it loses right away. But if queen f1 wins, then that's what we should choose. Huh. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Let's see. Okay, so far so good. And I thought queen f2 here. Let's quickly examine rook d8. Rook d8, queen, king a3, sorry, king e3. Um, is there some f4 check with the pawn? Maybe. F4 check, king e4. Hmm. Queen e2. Is that mate? So let's see. But the thing is, after rook d8, I'm allowing queen takes d8, which I'm allowing in other lines too. So queen d8, if king e3, f4 check, king e4, queen e2 check. I think that is mate. But if that is mate, then after rook d8, maybe king c3. King c3, we get to similar lines, maybe, as we saw earlier, after queen f3 check. So let's examine. Rook d8 check, king c3, queen f3 check, king c4. I was thinking b5 check, not sure. Let's look. b5 check, king c5 is possible. And then what do I have? Do I have queen d5 check? He goes to b6 maybe. Not really sure between queen f2 and rook d8 here. Both look good, but is there one that just wins? Not sure. So okay, I'm gonna take some more time here. I don't think I should wing it. Yeah, okay. So okay, fine. Let's buckle down and do this. So rook d8. If queen takes d8, knight takes d8. If rook takes f8, king takes f8, I think I'm okay. So after rook d8 check, the king has to move to either e3 or c3. Now e3, king e3 that is. We thought it loses to f4 check. f4 check, king e4, queen e2. Oh, there is king f5 there, which I missed earlier. Okay, well, that's not good. That's not good news if our main line suddenly has a problem. Um, and I cannot take his queen, by the way, because the pin on the 8th rank. So that already convinces me that queen f2 has to be good. Okay, and I'm wrong. Okay, so it's fine. Let's look at this analysis. We spent a long time. That, yeah, stinks. But okay, so queen f1, king d2, check. He has to take, the computer says, but what if he doesn't? He goes here. Queen f4, check, okay. King e2, queen e4 check, king f2, queen takes c2 check, king g3. Okay, somehow it mates. Now, what was wrong with queen f2, by the way? I'm just curious. Is it really just bad? Apparently, white can draw after king c3. Why? Because if queen e3, this is what I was planning. King c4. Here I had considered b5 check, but He actually wins after this because my knight is hanging. Okay, so this leads to this, and I'm not able to defend against white's threats against me. Okay, well, tough problem. Let's continue. Okay, how do we go back? Okay, so go ahead again if you would like to pause your video. It's black to play. So yeah, I noticed that we are very much down in material. We have two knights against white basically has a rook and two bishops extra. So okay, we have to checkmate him somehow. There should be some mate or something great here. So okay, queen h2 check, king f1, queen h1 check, king e2, queen takes knight check, and that looks good. After now he has to play king e1, and I can go queen f2 mate. So that is good. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so black to play. Go ahead if you would like to pause your video. I notice my queen being very close to the king, and his king position is very compromised. So knight to h4 suggests itself, threatening a mate. How does white defend? King moves do not help. Moving the rook anywhere does not help. Queen f3 I will take. And bishop e4 again I take. And still the mate threat remains. Any other moves worth considering? I do not think so. So I'm going to go with knight h4. Right? Yeah. Okay, this had been missed, but doesn't matter because we have knight f3 check, and now if he goes to h1 I checkmate him, so he has to give up his queen, and we win the queen. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, white to play. Go ahead if you would like to pause your video. I notice it's a queen endgame. I have this advanced passed pawn, so wondering if there is any way to trade queens by force. Huh. Or oh, I noticed something. So I could try c2, and if he takes, I have queen c6 check, skewering the king and queen. But he doesn't have to take. He could try queen b6 check. I go king, sorry, not b6, queen g3 check. I go king f1. And now, what can he try? If he takes my pawn, I'm happy. We trade queens and I win. But he can try king, not king, queen f3, sorry, queen h3 check. So I'm looking at c2. If he takes, I have queen c6. So queen g3. When I say c2, I mean f7. I'm so sorry. Okay, so okay, queen g3 check. Now king f1 and queen h3 check. I really would like to run him out of checks somehow. So let's see if we succeed. What are my choices right here? If I go to g1, he can check me on g3. So if I block the check, what happens? Queen g2 check right here. So queen g2, not check, queen g2. Now he can check me again from d3, and I could go to g1. Am I right, or what's going on? Or is there something else? Oh, let's quickly see if there is something easier. Really not noticing. Queen d2 check, king takes g4. Not sure what I've gained there. I could I don't think I can abandon this, the vicinity of my king and just go crazy on the other side. I do feel C2, I mean, sorry, not C2, pawn to F7 would be correct, but not sure how to deal with queen G3 check. Queen G3 check, king F1 is forced, and then queen H3 check. What if I go to E1? Then he can check me from G3 again, or H1. If he checks me on H1, I can trade queens by queen F1 check, and I'm winning. So now if he, after king E1, he goes to either G3 or C3. So if C3, I again have queen D2 check and we trade queens. And if he checks me on G3, I have queen F2 check and we trade queens. Okay, I think I have the solution. It is F7 check, and now this move is forced. And it didn't make us play our nice variation, but I was planning to go king E1 after king queen H3. So let me show you guys what I was looking at. And I think I will trade queens after any check after that. So yeah, so queen he delivered, I go check, and the point is, yeah, if he takes, I have this check, winning his queen next. And he did this, I come here, check, and I was planning king E1, yeah, which is correct. Now if he does any check, I can trade queens by force because I'm blocking my check with check, and I'll win thanks to my pass pawn. Again, same thing here, I'm blocking the check with check, and same thing here, queen h1 also blocking the check with check. So I have run him out of checks, and uh, I'm gonna win thanks to this f pawn. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, white to play. Go ahead if you would like to pause your video. Okay, so there is a lot of pressure on this b file. Material probably, not probably, material is equal. Okay, so taking on b7 with the pawn is check and has to be looked at. So okay, so c takes b7 check, king b8 is forced. What do I have there? Is queen a7 anything? Queen a7 check, he has to take my queen. If I promote, he takes, doesn't work. Is there anything smart after c takes b7 check, king b8? Well, actually, why not rook takes b7? Rook takes b7 threatens the mate on a7 with queen takes a7, and we have to see how he defends that mate. There is not a good check that he can deliver. If he takes on f2, I take, and I will win the whole house. And because of the pawn being on c7, he is not able to directly control the a7 square, so that should be good. He doesn't have any other checks to give, so I feel pretty confident. Okay, and he is giving us the whole house, as I said. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so white to play. Go ahead if you would like to pause your video. So looks like a back rank problem. So if I could take the rook and white somehow make it so that the queen cannot be captured, then it will be mate. But the queen is able to hold the rook for now. So we need to find a way to distract the queen. At least that's the first idea I have. So queen to d6 actually comes to mind, because of course if he takes my queen, I take on e8, and then queen f8, rook takes f8 is mate thanks to my bishop on c5. And queen d6 also sets up a threat of queen f8 check, rook takes f8, rook takes f8 mate. So, and of course after queen d6, if he takes my rook, I take back and I checkmate there. So looks good. Any other moves to be considered? Taking his rook right away, definitely not correct, because I bring the queen to the back rank, which is his weak point. After queen d6, he doesn't have any checks against me, and king moves will not help. The rook really can only go to f8 or take my rook because it's pinned, so that doesn't help. Queen moves along the a4 e8 diagonal. Do not change things because I can reply with queen f8. So looks very good. Let's do that. Okay, so far so good, and I think now we have a choice because now queen f8 will no longer be mate, and in fact will be a blunder because after he takes our queen and we take back, he plays king h7, and now black is the one who has a queen and we don't. So now I think we simply take his queen, but let's think, is there anything better? We take his queen, he takes our rook, and after that we can play something like h3. That should be good. That should be good. I don't see anything else, so take this. And we have crossed the 1700 barrier. This took a long time. Thank you to those of you who have been hanging in there with me. Yeah, if you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up. Write down in the comments if you have any feedback, if the videos are too long or too short, or anything else. Yeah, so I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye.